From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. Tonight, the FBI and Billings Police investigating a tip of a possible shooting planned for next Monday at West High School. Billings Police say they take every threat seriously, and right now they're working to figure out the source and the credibility. The tip of a possible shooting at West High on October 26 stemmed from an interaction and comments in an online chat room. The threat sending police and the FBI into rapid response to prevent and intervene before any incident would occur. Lieutenant Brandon Woolley says at this time, information that has been investigated is not corroborated to present a credible imminent threat. Well, tonight, 17 more COVID-19 related deaths to report across the state. These additional 17 bring the statewide COVID-19 related death toll to 290 now. The confirmed deaths are spread out throughout Montana, including yet another one here in Yellowstone County, bringing the death total here to 82. There are just under 2,000 confirmed active cases in Yellowstone County tonight. Well, despite the pandemic and the rapid increase in numbers, Billings School District 2 is working hard to keep kids in school. Those efforts being confused and a bit misconstrued in national headlines. An article in yesterday's New York Times reports that educators were moving students around every 15 minutes to cut down on close contacts. Tonight, Q2's Mitch Legge brings us clarification.
Billings School District 2 Superintendent Greg Upham told me Wednesday afternoon that the contact tracing issue stems from a miscommunication. Originally, building administrators asked the question of how to better socially distance students in the classroom.
You know, if we can disrupt the time without gaming the system, to be cognizant of that. And so that's what our intention was. A couple of communiques went out to say move students every 14 minutes. That was not the gist of the meeting.
Last week, during a meeting with building principals, questions rose about what exactly defines a close contact, which the Centers for Disease Control says is 15 minutes or more spent within 6 feet or less of someone. Upham said he asked the county health department for guidance on the effectiveness that interrupting students' time together has on COVID-19 spread. Health officials told the superintendent that schools should be aware of the 15 minutes as a guideline or something to remember, not as a steadfast rule. The New York Times criticized the movement of students, saying the district was trying to cut down on the amount of close contacts by finding a loophole. Upham said Wednesday the guidance is only meant to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
To be cognizant of it, you know, if you can disrupt it without disrupting instruction or disrupting a safety issue, that it surely can be something that should be considered. But again, the moving every 14 minutes was not the intent, and so we've clarified that.
The Billings Education Association Teachers Union filed a grievance over working conditions relating to the contact tracing issue on Wednesday. Upham said email clarification sent to parents and teachers over the afternoon resolved that grievance. In Billings, Mitch Legge, MTN News.
Thanks, Mitch. Students in the Billings schools are required to wear masks in a class and encouraged to practice frequent hand washing to further prevent COVID-19 spread. Well, as compared to the more than 25,000 confirmed cases here in Montana, Wyoming tonight has now surpassed 8,000 confirmed cases. Albany County leads the way with just under 1,000 total cases, followed by Laramie and Fremont counties, each with 930 total cases. So far, the state reports 61 COVID-19 related deaths. Last week, the Flathead County Health Board voted 5-3 against an order limiting event size in Flathead County to 500 people, despite a spike in COVID-19 cases. MTN's Sean Wells spoke with Flathead County Public Health Officer Tammy Robinson, who admits challenges in passing public health orders.
I'm Sean Wells in Kalispell, where public health officials admit challenges in passing public health orders despite COVID-19 cases on the rise.
Fiercely independent people, and that's why a lot of us live here. That's why I enjoy living here, but at times it makes public health initiatives a little bit difficult to achieve.
Flathead County Public Health Officer Tammy Robinson says health board members are reworking further measures to prevent community spread of COVID-19 after new restrictions were voted against at last week's board meeting.
We're in the process of rewriting the event limit size right now, and hopefully we'll make a couple tweaks to pieces that people on the board they objected to, and then hopefully we'll give it another shot.
Robinson says authorizing a new health order is not cut and dry, with a number of factors needing to be worked out before the order is voted upon. She said the health department needs to make sure the order is legal, will be enforced by law enforcement and the county attorney's office, and will be defendable in a court of law.
The health officer just doesn't make an order and then it's the rule of the land. It's not as simple as that.
Robinson says health board members are working on better understanding each other's viewpoints before new COVID measures are acted upon.
We've just got to work it through.
Robinson says a high number of COVID-19 exposures in Flathead County are linked to large social gatherings in indoor spaces. In Kalispell, Sean Wells, MTN News.
All right, turning to Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire. And Bob, even though it's not winter, we've got winter-like weather to talk about.
Oh, yeah, we could be talking about some really cold temperatures as we head into the weekend. Let me show you what's working on the threat board right now, though. As you can see, almost the entire state is filled up with something. We've got winter weather advisories, winter storm watches, winter storm warnings, and you can see various amounts of snowfall we're expecting over the next couple of days and on into the weekend. Here in Billings area, probably right on through Thursday, we're expecting 1 to 5 inches of snow here. Other places, like over in the Beartooth, could see 12 to 18 inches of snow in that area. So here's how this is going to play out. Here's where we are today. The scattered snow showers continue up in the northwest, and that's just going to push right on through overnight tonight for us. So we're expecting some more snow moving in. Then we get a little break in the action on Thursday night into Friday morning, but look what's coming over the hill right there on Friday night into Saturday. Look at all that snow moving across the state right into the Billings area. It stays with us throughout all of Saturday, and then even Sunday a little bit left over, then it starts to kick out of here. And so when it comes to cold weather, we are looking at maybe the next 3 or 4 mornings where we could see either near record lows or certainly breaking the record lows right on through Sunday morning. We'll have more on the forecast in a few more minutes.
Thank you, Bob. The U.S. government warning of active efforts by Iran and Russia to influence the presidential election that is now less than 2 weeks away. President Trump led a rally in North Carolina while his Democratic opponent Joe Biden prepared in his home state of Delaware for tomorrow night's debate in Nashville. CBS News correspondent Deborah Alfarone has more from the White House.
The U.S. government issued a stark warning Wednesday night about what it said were attempts by Iran and Russia to interfere in the presidential election.
We have confirmed that some voter registration information has been obtained by Iran and separately by Russia. We have already seen Iran sending spoofed emails designed to intimidate voters, incite social unrest, and damage President Trump.
Officials did not provide more specifics or say if the voting infrastructure was breached. The president is staying on his busy schedule of campaign rallies with his second visit to North Carolina in just a week.
Oh, they're getting a little nervous over there, the deep state, the Democrats. We're going to win this state, 13 days.
On the streets of Philadelphia, former President Barack Obama campaigned for his former Vice President Joe Biden for the first time. Later, at a drive-in rally, he said President Trump wants full credit for the economy he inherited, but zero blame for the pandemic that he ignored.
Tweeting at the television doesn't fix things. Making stuff up doesn't make people's lives better.
President Trump and Joe Biden are set to take the same debate stage a second and final time Thursday night in Nashville. In hopes of avoiding a repeat of last month's chaotic clash, one candidate's mic will be muted at certain times while the other speaks.
Well, I think the mute is very unfair.
And in a blow to Republicans, a new federal court ruling means mail-in ballots in North Carolina will be counted up to 9 days after voting is over, as long as they're postmarked by Election Day. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
And the final presidential debate is scheduled for 7 o'clock tomorrow night. You can see it on Q2. Thousands of ballots are arriving each day to the Yellowstone County Elections Office. Elections Officer Brett Rutherford tells Q2 43,041 ballots have been signed in, and the team still has had another 3,000 to count today. This means almost 50% of the eligible voters have already cast their ballot in the state's largest county. In the last presidential election in 2016, more than 71,000 Yellowstone County residents voted. And more than 240,000 Montanans have already made their choices in the upcoming general election. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian takes a look at the votes that have come in so far and what they mean for the last days of campaigning across the state.
With just under 2 weeks until Election Day, a large portion of Montana's votes are already accounted for. and that changes how campaigns will spend their final days. As of Tuesday evening, the Secretary of State's office reported nearly 638,000 ballots had been sent out to Montana voters. More than 243,000 have already been returned. That number jumped by 35,000 compared with the day before. About 2/3 of the submitted ballots have come from Montana's 7 largest counties: Yellowstone, Missoula, Gallatin, Flathead, Cascade, Lewis and Clark, and Ravalli. They sent out a total of nearly 427,000 ballots and have accepted almost 162,000. Lewis and Clark County has the highest turnout so far among large counties, with almost 49% of its mail ballots already returned. 4 others have gotten more than 40% of ballots back. Gallatin has processed about 29%, and Flathead has processed about 22%. The number of Montanans who voted absentee had been rising for years, even before Governor Steve Bullock allowed counties to switch to all-mail ballots during the pandemic.
What happens is, instead of having one election day, we have multiple election days.
David Parker, the chair of Montana State University's Political Science Department, says with so many votes in, campaigns get diminishing returns from traditional ads, so they'll likely refocus to try to motivate those who still haven't turned their ballots in.
Now campaigns have to shift their resources in ways that are less blunt, in ways that are more targeted, specifically to those voters that they know have not returned their ballots yet.
Parker says it's possible about half of the total vote in this election could be in by the end of Wednesday. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
In the June primary, which was conducted entirely by mail, Montana voters returned more than 60% of the ballots that were sent out. Total voter turnout was the highest for a primary in decades. All but 11 counties are holding mail elections this time. Well, today, both Wyoming senators had the chance to meet Supreme Court nominee Judge Amy Coney Barrett for the first time. Wyoming Senator Mike Enzi says the two had a great conversation on issues important to Wyoming and that Barrett is a remarkable judge and legal scholar. Senator John Barrasso says Barrett is exactly what people in Wyoming are looking for in a Supreme Court justice. The two Republican senators say they look forward to supporting her confirmation. Still ahead on the MTN 9 o'clock news, we're cooking things up to announce a new top chef is headed to Montana to add a little Cajun flair. But first, Mother Nature dishing up another big-time snowstorm. Bob is back in next to tell us all about it.